so I don't forget. All right. Okay. I am excited that you all are here to join me. Good afternoon, at least in my time zone. I don't know where folks are joining me from, but good morning, good evening, just to cover my bases. My name is Stephanie Burke. I'm the Assistant Dean and Director of First Year Experience, and I'm really excited that you're here and that we're able to chat a little bit about some of the support and resources that we offer and hopefully answer a ton of your questions about what the summer looks like into your first year at Lehigh. The first thing I want to do, just to get a sense of who is on this call, hopefully this works. Actually, let me give you a couple of logistics. So I mentioned this. There should be a chat feature. You should be able to chat me if something technologically isn't working. Please do use the Q&A feature if you have questions. I'm going to go through a brief presentation to give you some of the basics of some of the questions that I know folks have. And so I'm going to try and do that. I will be trying to scan your questions as I'm going to answer them as I'm going, but please just be patient with me and I will answer as many questions as I can. If for some reason I can't answer a question or I can't get to all of the questions in our time frame, I will, when I post the recording to Wiser, I will also answer any questions that were left unanswered and point you in the right direction. So please don't worry. We will make sure that all of your questions get answered, and I will give you our contact information in the OFYE at the end as well. So saying that, I'm going to give, oh, I just saw my chat isn't working. Okay, that you can use the Q&A feature if your chat is not working. That might be a technical issue on my side. I may not have given you access, so I apologize. Perfect, that is working though. So I'm gonna pull up, I'm curious to see who's on the call so that I can tailor the presentation and some of the answers I may give. So I'm gonna pull up a poll, we'll see if it works. My first time using a poll. You're joining me from my living room, so I should also give the caveat that you may hear a dog barking or a toddler running around. They are safely tucked away right now, but they may pop up. I see folks are answering. Awesome. So you are seeing. I'm just curious to see who's joining us today. I have a little "you missed me" on there in case there's someone that doesn't fit in any of those categories. I'm going to give it just a second to give folks a chance to answer. It may have popped up in a different window if you didn't, if you're not seeing it on your screen. Okay. Awesome. I'm going to go ahead. Looks like most people have answered. So I'll even show you. Looks like we have some undecided students, some students who have already committed, and a few either parent, family, supporter of students, which is very exciting. So I'm glad to have you all here. All right, well, let me get started. So like I said, my name is Stephanie Burke. I work in the Office of First Year Experience. We are very excited around this time of year. I hope to highlight some of the things that you want to know about, ease some of your stress and anxiety, and just show you what Lehigh has to offer. So let's see if my PowerPoint is gonna work. There it is. Okay, so just a quick slide on our staff. I think it's important for you to know the faces of the people that are there to support you. So myself on the left, in the middle is Nicole Burke. We are not related. We just ironically have the same last name. She directs our orientation program and works with our quite large orientation leader staff, and you can see them, our enthusiastic bunch below. Those are amazing student leaders who volunteer their time because they really care about wanting first-year students to have a good experience, to welcome them to the community, to answer their questions, to guide them through not just orientation, but really their first semester at Lehigh. And I know that a bunch of them act as resources well beyond that. And so that our staff our folks are really proud of, and I think folks that are incredibly valuable to the first-year students. And then on the right is Erin Ketson, that's our office coordinator. So if you're calling her office or emailing her general email, she's probably gonna be the first person that you speak with, and she is incredibly knowledgeable and incredibly helpful. So that is a little bit about our staff. What we are trying to do is provide support and resources for both the academic and social transition of new students and their families, because we know that both are a part of the journey oftentimes. And we want to make sure that people are successful and that folks, you know, your academics and your social life are combined, right? If you're doing well in one, hopefully you're doing well in the other, but if things aren't going well in one area, that may bleed into the next. And so really concentrating on you as a whole person and wanting to make sure that you are having a good experience and making the most of the Lehigh experience. We have so many resources and it can be hard sometimes to find those. And so we hope to act as kind of a hub to get you introduced to those resources and get you connected when you need to be connected. Blueprint is something that is uniquely Lehigh, and that is really the framework of everything we do. So at Lehigh, we are really all about taking everything as a learning opportunity, and that's what Blueprint's all about, is making the most of your experience. And these 5 foundations are really what we're going to ask you to challenge yourself on, and sorry, I'm looking at questions and now I'm getting myself distracted. And so these are things that we're going to ask you to think about. Creative curiosity, asking mindful questions, asking big questions, right? Identity development, thinking about yourself, who you are, where you come from, how that influences you. Collaborative connections, how you are going to make meaningful relationships while you're at Lehigh and how you make the most of those, what you want those to look like. Inclusive leadership is all about, you know, we're all a part of a lot of communities, and how do we both impact the community and how does it impact us? And I think we can see that now in the situation that we are in. And professional growth and success, thinking about what does success look like for you, because your answer may be very different than the person across from you. And then how do we get you there? What's your plan? What are your goals? And thinking through what resources are going to be most helpful to help you be successful. Oh, my screen. I don't want to jump ahead too much, but my screen is not changing the slide. There we go. Okay. I know you're probably really interested in logistics, so I want to give you a little bit of that. The Lehigh Student Portal, so what you have probably been logging in as in your applicant student portal, and when you get your Lehigh credentials, or when you got your Lehigh credentials, hopefully you opened that account. And your Lehigh Student Portal, the information I'm sure you've seen has changed over time. On Thursday, May 14th, the information is going to completely change. And that's when the Office of First Year Experience really comes in. And so something you're gonna see on there, a big thing we're gonna see on there is the summer checklist. You're gonna see lots of helpful information, lots of helpful links to a lot of the questions you probably will have on your summer checklist. Really, like I said, we wanna act as a hub. We wanna make sure that you're doing what you need to do over the summer to be prepared for August, and that we give you that information in a really easy, streamlined way. So that summer checklist is gonna go down May, June, July, August, and there'll be some links. Some of it might be surveys you need to take, some of it may be your housing contract or your health forms that you'll need to submit, setting up your ID card. So all that information will be there, and we'll link you to the right place so that you have the information you need. The picture on the left is the welcome kit. Well, that's an older picture, but so that is something we would normally send out right after the deposit deadline on May 2nd. So someone asked about public if you'll be getting materials. So unfortunately, and I hope you can understand that due to the scenario that we're in with COVID-19, I am clearly working remotely, as well as all of our staff. And so the university is currently, we're online learning, but the physical campus is not really open at the moment. So we're not able to send out the welcome kits this year through mail, but we are going to send it to you via email. It will be available on our website. It will be pushed out through social media. And so you will see all of the information that you would normally get in various formats. But the welcome kit's a big one. And that is a document that's going to have all this information about the summer portal, or about the Lehigh Student Portal and the summer checklist, about orientation and some of the programs that I'm going to talk to you about today, and answer a lot of your questions about housing, move-in, course registration, all of that. So that will be coming your way in early May. And that's something we always say, it's really important to check your email. You'll check your personal email for now, and then when you get access to your Lehigh email, so we'll email you at your personal email address on Thursday, May 14th, and then we'll tell you we're only going to email you from your Lehigh email account after that. And so that's something we're going to ask you to check regularly, and that's a good habit to get in when you're in college if you don't already do that. So we will send information there, and we will post a ton of information on the portal. Those are going to be some of your main hubs to get any information that you need. There we go. Housing. I'm sure that housing is a big question for you. So living Lehigh, we do have a first and second year live on requirement. And so the housing contract will go live on Monday, May 18th, and then it will be due June 5th. You can see here some of the themed communities that we offer. So anything from STEM learning to outdoor adventure to our first generation college students themed community. So based on an interest you may have, you may want to live with folks that have a similar interest. The Griffin or the RA is what other schools may call them, but we call them Griffins here. And they will program based on those particular students and the needs and interests that they have. In the housing contract, you'll be able to provide a ton of information, including if you already have an idea of who you want your roommate to be, you should put that in there. If you just want to be randomly assigned, they'll ask you a ton of preferences. Are you messy? Are you neat? Do you like to stay up late? Those kinds of questions to help match you the best that they can. And there's also a program called My College Roomie that we would link you to if you would like to try and find your own roommate. So there's lots of different options there. In the housing contract, you can't say which specific residence hall you want to live in, but you can give those preferences. We have a lot of standard double rooms that if you haven't been to campus, you've probably seen at other campuses. There's also some singles, some triples. So there's a variety of options, and you will put all of those preferences in there, and then they will make room assignments, and those will go out around mid-July. Prelusion. We have a really great way to get connected early. So I'll talk a little bit about orientation. Prelusion is our pre-orientation program. So they actually happen 3 days before orientation even starts. It's a really great way to get onto campus early, meet new friends. You would move into your specific residence hall and your room. Great way to have fun. The programs range. So you see some pictures in here: Sustainable Lehigh, Volunteer Experience, Discover Lehigh if you're just looking to explore the area, Lehigh Women Engineers. Our new program this year is Lehigh Med. We're really excited for that. Hopefully none of their plans get messed up due to what's going on in the healthcare system right now, but we're really excited for that. The EMS program here on campus is going to be running that program. So lots of different options if you're looking to move in a little bit early, make some friends, and really get connected. There is a staff coordinator for each of those programs that is running the program, as well as upper class student leaders. And those upper class student leaders are there to answer questions, to guide you through activities, and to kind of really familiarize you with campus. Then orientation starts. So everyone moves in for orientation. Move-in day is officially Thursday, August 20th. And the 4 days before classes start, so that Thursday through Sunday is orientation, and it is jam-packed. We have lots of fun. I talked a little bit about the orientation leaders before, I know, and so they're the ones leading small group conversations. They are guiding you through orientation, taking you to different sessions. They're going over some things to make sure that you feel comfortable on campus. They'll take you on a campus tour. They will make sure that you know where things are and can do your laundry and can answer, all the little questions that come up, in addition to going over some content about what it means to be a Lehigh student and community expectations. There's tons of programming throughout those 4 days. So some that's more college specific. So you'll hear from your college leadership. You'll get to meet with a college representative to talk about your schedule. We have an opportunity called Faux Friday where you get to go off campus for a little bit and eat at a local restaurant and get to know not just Lehigh, but also the Bethlehem community that we live in. We have University Convocation, which is our academic kickoff to the year. You see a picture on the bottom right, that is our first year student and alumni rally, a really neat tradition we have at Lehigh where the class of 50 years ago adopts the first year class. It's really cool. And then there are socials and ways to help folks get connected and make friends and just meet people and have some fun during orientation as well. Summer reading, that is one program that happens during orientation, so on Friday, August 21st. Really excited about the book choice this year, so that is something that we would ask that you read over the summer. It's a really quick, easy read. I am the slowest reader ever, and I read it very quickly, so that bodes well for everyone. Really great. It's a fictional story, but it's about a story super relevant. A student who is going off to college, and she is a first-generation college student. She's from the Miami area. She kind of secretly applies and goes to this elite private college in the Northeast, and kind of walks through some of the challenges and tribulations she had, her personal story. There's so many connections there, so we're really excited for this book, and we think folks will really enjoy it and find ways to connect with Lizette, who is the woman in the story. Navigate LU is a program that happens throughout the first semester, and so we really want to make sure that folks are successful, and I think something that Lehigh is really good at is making sure there's that one-on-one touch, that you feel like you have someone there to support you, and that there's someone you can turn to ask questions. And so Navigate LU is one way in which we do that, where folks are connected to, there's a few different components. So one, you're connected to a faculty or staff member, and you actually get to pick who that person is. We give you a list of choices and their bios and some information from them. And that's someone that you're going to meet with 2 or 3 times. You could meet with them more, but we say at least twice in September and October to touch base, talk about goals that you have, think about what you're learning at Lehigh, what resources might be helpful to you. So really kind of a touch point for you and to help you think about how to be successful and how to create that plan for yourself. You'll meet with your orientation group a couple more times, once or twice, to reconnect, see how things are going. Again, a way to connect you both to other first year students and then also to that upper class student leader who hopefully will have some answers if you have some questions, or at least be able to point you in the right direction and just be a good point of connection for you. And then the third part of Navigate LU is our 5x10 programming. And really that's getting you out and exposed to all that Lehigh has to offer. There's so many really cool programs, initiatives, campus lectures, just really neat opportunities. And so we ask that you explore in those 5 foundations for student success that I mentioned before. There's over like 150 programs that you could choose from typically. And we say go to 5 programs in the first 10 weeks. That's what 5x10 means. So that's a little bit about Navigate LU. And the last program that I'll mention, so please, if you have questions, start typing them in and I'll keep reading them and we'll try and answer live. Our last program that I'll mention is Camp Hawk. And Camp Hawk's a really great way to get connected. So we have a program, we take 60 students out into the Poconos for a weekend retreat. Lots of fun, a really great way to get connected to other first year students as well as upper class student leaders. It's part of a larger retreat, so there's actually a ton of student organizations that will go as well. So there's usually about over 300 students that will go. And it's free. It's a great way if you went to camp or if you wanted to go to camp. We do your typical like bonfires, camp games, relay races, that kind of stuff. In addition to talking about how the semester is going and how the transition is going, because we know that that is a process and it doesn't happen in 4 days of orientation and then you're great. Some people are just fine after 4 days. And you know, things come up throughout the semester. So just getting a chance to reconnect with your peers and some upper class student leaders to talk about that and kind of process it and think about how you're going to move forward and have a good time. So be successful. So that's a little bit. We also have a program in the winter called Camp Hawk Snowed In. So kind of our spring semester version of Camp Hawk. It can't be out in the woods because it's freezing, but an indoor way to get connected to other first year students and upper class student leaders. So a really great way to make some friends and decompress and debrief about how the year is going. So keep typing in your questions. I see a couple, so I will get to those. I will say here is our contact information in the Office of First Year Experience. We are happy to answer questions. Like I said, we will send out a ton of information early May, and then come that May 14th date, you're going to get a ton of information on your portal, and there will be information about course registration there. Your email is so important to check. That is where university departments will connect with you and will try and get you information there. So be checking that. I see a question about, do we have our student emails yet? So you do have your email address. You probably don't have access. You shouldn't have access yet to actually view emails in your Gmail, Lehigh Gmail account. So the 3 letters and usually it's 3 letters and 3 numbers, not always. So for me, it's sdb212 at lehigh.edu. So you probably have that already. But you will get access to your email May 14th. So it will take some time, but that's your user ID. And so that's what you'll be using to log in. If you have created your account, you used that user ID and you created a new like Lehigh password. If you have not opened your account, then that's something you can still do, and that information will be in the welcome kit, and you will get instructions on that again if you have not done that. That is through your applicant student portal. There should be some information on there to be able to do that. Let me take a look at these questions. So please keep, oh, I see lots. Okay, great. Let me see if I can scan these real quick and start answering. Okay, I think I answered that. Why would we have online classes for the fall semester due to the pandemic? Great question. What I can say to that is I think the university is monitoring the situation, and it changes day by day, as you all know. It's a really stressful time. The university, I think if it's safe to be open, we will be open, and I'm sure they will take whatever precautions are necessary. I unfortunately do not have a crystal ball. I have not heard that we are not, there's no announcement to be online in the fall, but certainly the pandemic is changing day by day, and you're probably watching the news as I am, and learning more and more about the impact. And so I don't have a great answer to that question. Let's hope not. Let's hope that the country's in a better place. So I would say, I'm sure we did make an announcement about summer classes. So summer classes right now are going to be online, but that is all I've heard. Can you request a single first year? Yes, there are single rooms. It's not guaranteed, but there are definitely rooms available that are singles. There's some questions here about where some of the themed communities are. That does change from year to year, so I can't guarantee where a themed community will be. It depends on the numbers and how many people apply to be in that themed community. So they make those decisions based on the folks that request to be in a themed community, and if there are any needs of those students and the numbers. And so things do get moved around. So just because a themed community was in Taylor or M&M one year does not mean that it will be there next year. So that is not a guarantee. See some more housing questions. So do most students go random or select a roommate? It's personal preference. I don't think there's a majority one way or the other. Everyone does it differently, and everyone has good and maybe not so successful experiences. Sure, that does happen. But I don't think, I think folks have success no matter which way they go. So it's really kind of personal preference of I've heard lots of good things. I know sometimes people are more worried about the random assignment. It's hard to know without people being in the room. But I know sometimes folks are a little bit more worried about that. And typically that is not, I've heard actually more success stories with that because you're just submitting your preferences and then you get matched based on, as long as you answer those questions honestly, you're getting matched with someone that's a little more similar to you as far as lifestyle, and that is usually the bigger issue, or lifestyle issues. And you would find out your housing assignment in mid-July, or second to third week in July, typically. Are the residence halls forms which come out on May 18th first come, first served? That is a great question. They are not. So you take your time and decide what your preferences are, and they are just due June 5th. So you must turn it in by June 5th. But it doesn't matter between May 18th and June 5th when you submit it. And also, if you submit it on May 18th and then you change your mind about something, you can go in and fill it out again, and that will rewrite your last submission. So there is an opportunity to change your mind if that happens. I see summer reading. Summer reading is a requirement. It's part of orientation, which is a requirement for all of our incoming students, both first year, your traditional first year, and transfer students. So that is a required book, and we will talk about it. Some folks will use it in their English courses if you are taking an English course, but we do discuss it at orientation. As of right now, we are not delivering the books. So we are asking that you purchase the book. And I am currently working with the publisher to see what options are. I know they are available via ebook. So if you're having trouble getting the book shipped to you, I don't know what this pandemic, what might be some complications and challenges that we all might face. But there are ebooks available as well, which might be a good option. I see questions about advisors. So do students meet with an advisor before they choose their courses? That is an excellent question. So course registration happens usually around the second week in July. So we're saying mid-July. You will get more specific dates via email in usually around early June. So you'll have plenty of time to prepare. There's some information that will be on your student portal on May 14th. You'll get, there will be a box or a widget, as we call it, with your college and some links to important information, your course packet, which will give you some basics about course registration, things to start looking at. And then you've got time before that mid-July date to take a look. Now there is we call it the FYS Enroll website. So you're going to get a ton of emails from Registration and Academic Services. They have a website dedicated to incoming first year students about registration. So depending on what college you're in, what program you are in, there are sample schedules, there is advice, there are tutorials on how to use the registration system. So there's going to be a ton of information provided to you. The advisors you're going to see contact information both in the welcome kit and the student portal, everywhere. And so you can connect with whether it be your advisor or the college specifically. Every college does things a little bit differently. And so you will see that information in your portal, and I would highly recommend you reach out. Some of your advisors will already reach out. I'm sure all the colleges will reach out to chat with you, and then it's up to you. If you want to speak to someone individually, folks will be available for all of June to chat about that. And then even during the registration process, let's say you're in there and you thought you knew what you wanted to sign up for, and then you have some questions come up. One of the greatest features, I think, is the live chat feature. So they have a live chat feature during registration so that you can shoot a quick question to someone in Registration Academic Services, and they have a ton of people monitoring that, and so they're answering live. Sometimes the phones can get backed up during the actual registration period, so that live chat feature is amazing, and I've heard great things from the students that they really appreciate the quick response, so that folks can continue to register. So there will be plenty of opportunities to get advice from either your advisor or your college, just depending on which college you're in. Like I said, they do things a little bit differently. Scanning. I see a question about work study. Great question. So we have something called Handshake on Lehigh's website through the Center for Career and Professional Development, and that is really kind of a job internship platform. There's a ton of resources within there as well, but that's where all of the work-study jobs will be posted. Financial aid will have a ton of information about this as well. So jobs might be posted over the summer. I think it depends on the office and when they are looking for folks to submit some sort of application. There is a work-study job fair during orientation. So that's on the Sunday of orientation, and that's where a ton of work-study offices will be in the University Center, kind of like a fair setup with different tables, and folks will be answering questions, promoting their opportunities, potentially if they're doing some sort of interview process, they might be having you sign up for an interview. So every office does things a little bit differently. And I'm sure financial aid will also have a listing of the job opportunities. I know they do a really great job after the work-study job fair too, to connect with students who maybe haven't gotten a position yet. And I know they connect with us as employers to say, here are students that you could connect with. So they help facilitate that to get you that work-study job if that is offered in your financial aid package. Okay, let's see. I see, are we getting mailed a welcome kit? So the welcome kit that I mentioned earlier in the presentation, unfortunately, we're not able to mail that. We're not on campus right now. And so we're unable to be able to ship that to everyone. But you will be getting that information via your email, via your portal, our website, our social media. So we will make sure that you have access to all of that information, and we're just not able to get it to you in a time frame that makes sense. You will already see all of that information before we are able to get back to campus and be able to send that to you. So I am sorry. It is really unfortunate, and I hate that. It's a beautiful document. Lots of great pictures, can really show you what life is like at Lehigh. But we will be sure to highlight that, and you will get that information. Let's see, what other questions are we seeing? So I'm seeing some specifics about housing, some additional questions. There are kitchens in the residence halls. They are shared. So yes, you would have access to a kitchen and a study lounge, kind of a common area in each of the residence halls. I will direct you to housing about specifics on what's in the kitchens. I think it's just a microwave and that sort of thing. Not, I see pots and pans as a specific example. I don't believe pots and pans are available. I could be wrong on that, so you may want to check with housing if that is important to you. And I will try and check that out too, but I'm pretty sure you would need to bring your own. Let's see. Are there online summer courses? There are. So you might be able to start checking that out. And well, they're probably still solidifying that at the moment. But yes, every summer, summer courses are available. This year, obviously, all of our classes are remote. I don't know what the percentage in a typical summer, what is online versus in person. I would imagine the majority are in person. And if you have questions about transfer credits and stuff like that, I would direct you towards admissions. They would typically answer those types of questions. This event will be recorded, or it is recorded. So I will post this in Wiser, and we'll make sure that we get it out there. I will also, if there are any questions, again, that I have not answered, I will make sure to get the answer and answer those in Wiser as well, so that you have access to that. Is STEM and other themed housing only available for freshman year or all 4 years? That's a great question. So themed housing does change from year to year. So the what is offered in first year may not be offered what in second years. Something like STEM is offered to first and second year students. So it depends on interest. And so that's a process that we go through in the spring semester. Folks could request a different themed community. There are some themed communities that are available to second years that's not available to first year. So that does fluctuate a little bit. Some are multi-year and could be available after that. I should mention, we don't guarantee housing after second year, but certainly there are folks in their junior and senior year who do live on campus. So it's just not guaranteed. I'm seeing questions about like what's the largest residence halls? Where do the majority of first year students live? So there are, like I said, things could change a little bit, but there are typically 8 first year residence halls, Lower Sense, Upper Sense, M&M, Giroux, Richards, Drinker, Taylor. Hopefully I got them all. I may have missed something. The Lower and Upper Sense are some smaller communities that are connected versus something like M&M, which is one of the bigger residence halls. Giroux and Drinker are also quite large. But like I said, you can't preference where you live. You can only preference like what gender preference. So do you want to live with, if you're male and you want to live with other males, you can preference whether you want a single, double, or triple. You can preference roommate, but you can't preference where exactly you live. A themed community, you can also preference a themed community. You don't have to preference a themed community, but you can. So I'm looking, sorry, a lot of does a single cost more than a double? I'm going to stay on housing for a moment. No, the housing costs are the same for first year students. We do have micro fridges for rent, and that is going to be one of the links that you'll find in your student portal. And you have to rent through our micro fridge company if you want to have a microwave. I am seeing, let's see, how do you sign up for Camp Hawk and Prelusion? Great question. I should have answered that. Prelusion registration, as of right now, goes live May 14th. We may push that date back just depending on what's going on in the country. But right now, May 14th, the information and all of the programs you can start checking out on our website right now. And then the registration link will be there, but it will also be in your Lehigh student portal when that goes live. So it's not live yet. You won't see a link yet, so don't get worried that it's not there, but that will go live on May 14th. I should mention the programs, some programs close faster than others. I know folks get really nervous. There's a myth out there that programs close in the first hour. That is not the case. Usually it takes 24 to 48 hours for any one program to close. There are scholarships available, so there is a cost associated with Prelusion. And the cost is different based on the program and the activities that they are doing. Every program has a different size. Every program does different activities, so that's something I encourage you to check out on our website. And then if cost is a barrier, we don't want that to be. And so there will be, starting May 1st, we will have a scholarship form available on our website, so you could apply for a scholarship in order to participate, and we will do our best to find as many people as possible for a scholarship to be able to participate. Camp Hawk, that sign up doesn't open until the first day of class, so that link will be available on our website. And what we typically do is wait until after what we call the Club Expo, so like a student organization fair where you can find different organizations to get involved in. That happens on the first day of class between 4 and 6. So we open Camp Hawk registration at 7. And that does typically fill up very quickly. So that will fill up within minutes. So that's something that if that sounds appealing to you, to kind of mark that on your calendar to be ready to sign up that evening. I see we'll be doing another presentation since looks like some folks couldn't get into the Zoom call. Yes, I am happy to offer more presentations. I'm also recording this, so I will post the recording so that folks could see it if they weren't able to. I see some questions about switching colleges. That is possible. It's not typically what we say is that we want you to have I think it's 23 or 24 credits before you are officially able to switch. If that's something that you know you already want to do, that's something to talk to both your college and then the other college about, so that they may be able to guide you in the right direction as far as what classes to take, and what that process will look like and what you need to do in order to do that. I know our students tout that it's pretty simple to switch colleges at Lehigh. That again, that's in the words of the students. So I don't think there's anything to stress about. Some of the smaller programs may be capped. So something like our IBE program, Integrated Business and Engineering, that may be more competitive. But if you're looking to switch from one college to the other, that's typically not an issue, but the official switch we ask that you wait until you have credits. And so that's a question to ask those college representatives, so that you can plan for that and be thoughtful about the classes that you're taking. But yes, that is possible. Is Greek life a huge theme on campus? If you're not in Greek life, would you be left out? Great question. So I know we have been very well known in the past for our Greek community, and we do have a very vibrant Greek community, and our numbers are about 30%, 30 to 35% max at this point. And so if you look at those numbers, then what you could say is that 70% of our students are not Greek, and they find social connections and they have a great time. There are over 200 student organizations on campus. There are offices that offer these amazing programs. There's stuff in the arts, there's stuff in sports, there's stuff depending on your interest, right? So I think I can confidently say that you do not need to be Greek to have a vibrant social life on campus. But certainly if that is something that you're interested in, we do have a great Greek community that do a lot of great work, both in the local community and on campus. And so yes to both. Let's see. I'm seeing some questions about credits transferring, AP credits, that kind of stuff. So that I am going to direct you to admissions for that. The specifics on that are on the admissions website, but I would say you can head back to your admissions counselor or call the main admissions line, and they'll be able to help you with that, as well as the college representatives. If it comes time in June and you're starting to ask some of those questions, your college representatives, registration, academic services, those are going to be the best places to ask those questions. I won't get into too specific because that is not my forte. So I will accept that is not my expertise, and just guide you in the right direction there. I'm looking, there's a question about, I think a couple questions about commuting. Great question. So, so for our commuters out there that are a little bit closer to campus and would have an exemption if they didn't want to live on campus, I think it's 35 miles. Don't quote me on that. There is a link on, there is that information in the welcome kit when you get it. So if you apply for an exemption because you're nearby and you're not living on campus, absolutely, there are opportunities to get involved on campus. Certainly it's a little bit more challenging as far as depending on your schedule and how much you want to stay on campus. Something that we always encourage with commuters is to hang out and to stay. And if you can schedule your classes in a way that you're able to spend some time on campus without having to go back and forth, that's something we would highly encourage. But get involved in student organizations, meet folks during orientation. During orientation, we will have we'll have a couple of commuter specific meetings, and that's really just to get the commuters together so that you get to meet each other and you know who each other are, because sometimes that can be helpful to have some friends that are going through the same thing, and kind of ask those questions. We'll get you connected with the parking office so that you can figure out that piece so that you can get to campus. But yeah, I think it's what you make of it. And so if you stick around campus and you go to some of the late night events and you go to student club meetings, you're going to be able to be just as engaged as the folks that live on campus, as long as you're able to take the time and do that. So I think it's somewhat in the commitment that you are able to put forth and the time you're able to spend on campus and make those connections. But that's what we are here to help you kind of figure out. If you don't know quite how to do that, or you want to create a plan to be able to be successful in that area, that's something that Navigate LU faculty staff member, that orientation leader, those folks would be happy to chat more about that. And again, we'll connect you right away in orientation on day one with other commuters too. So that way you've got some folks that are kind of in the same boat. Oh, I hope I didn't miss, I started scrolling and I hope I don't miss questions. So I apologize if you are being very patient and you haven't gotten your question answered. There's a question about Lehigh accounts and emails and changing passwords. Yes, we will ask you to change your password every 6 months. And those are, for security reasons. We do have like a Duo sign-in as well. Let's see, what else do we have in here? Questions about, let's see, are international students eligible for certain work-study opportunities? I'm going to direct you. So I know that the Office of International Students and Scholars is going to be doing another webinar. They may not have announced it yet because they may not have solidified a date, but they will be offering another webinar, and they would be the office to reach out to. I think it is possible. I don't know what the restrictions are and what, if there are different specific restrictions. So I'm not as familiar. So I know Caroline Neal from the Office of International Students and Scholars will be hosting a webinar, and I'll be joining to answer general first-year student questions. But if you want to know more quickly, just reaching out to their office, that might be a good place to start. Financial aid may also have some answers there. And if work study is not an option, there are also wage positions on campus and off campus. We are right near the South Bethlehem community, and so both on campus and off campus hourly positions are available as well if work study is not an option or you're not offered work study. Let's see what else. There is not a summer course requirement unless your specific program has one. Sometimes if you're doing a co-op or something like that, then there would be, and that's specific to the College of Engineering. There may be some summer requirements, but in general, no, there's no summer course requirement. I'm seeing some questions about accommodations. So yes, if you have any sort of disability, whether it be health or physical, there is a form that you will see. There will be a link to it, and they'll ask that you fill out that information before, I think it's before that June 5th deadline. It's in our welcome kit. I'm sorry, I don't know it off the top of my head. I think it's June 1st. But there will be an opportunity for you to share that information in the housing contract itself. You can share that information, and they make every accommodation available. Housing Services is amazing. So if you tell them what you need and you have the documentation that you need, they work very hard to do that. And so that's something that's taken into consideration to make sure folks with any sort of, especially, if it's a health concern, they will take care of that for you. And if you want to ask specifics, Housing Services, as far as the housing component goes, is the best place to start. But there will be a form for folks to fill out. Let's see. Seeing some specifics about computers. There's going to be some links about computers. There's not, as far as I know, no major has any sort of specific computer requirements. There is a website, and the link will be in your student portal around computers, and if you're looking to purchase a computer, what kind of computer should you purchase, and that sort of thing. So that will be a helpful link, and I will try and gather some of these and put them in Wiser as well. I feel like it would take me too long to try and find it, and don't want to not answer folks' questions that I can do fairly easily. So some of the more specific ones, I will just post some of that. If you sign up for themed housing, are you guaranteed you'll be in the themed community? That's a great question. I am going to have to ask Housing Services. I think I know, but I don't want to give you the wrong answer on that. I know the complication that could come up is around, let's say you preference a themed community, and then you, I imagine, I know they work very hard to get everyone into the themed community they want. There may be spacing issues, I would imagine. And then also, if you are also preferencing a roommate and that roommate has a different preference, that might be one where they come back to you and they call you and say, okay, do you prefer to be in this themed community or do you prefer to be with this roommate? Because that is not matching up for us. So I know that that happens sometimes. Is there a club fair? So I talked a little bit about that the first day of class. Yes, massive club fair on the front lawn, tons of free food and free giveaways, an opportunity to sign up. I'm sure the students, I always hear the students say, sign up for everything and anything, and then you can pick and choose where you want to go and test some clubs out for the first month or two. So yes, tons of organizations to choose from. I see some questions about internship opportunities and how quickly those are available. I say the sooner you start looking into that, the better, not to stress folks out, but the Center for Career and Professional Development is amazing, and they offer resources to first-year students just as much as they offer resources to our seniors. So I mentioned Handshake before, where job opportunities and internship opportunities are available. They have tons of resources. Every college has their own advisor within the Center for Career and Professional Development, so someone who very much knows your area. They have career labs. They have student leaders who are trained to chat about some of that stuff. So in addition to your typical resume workshops, practice interviewing skills, those kinds of things, which they do all of that. They also have some really great resources as far as exploring both, if you don't know what you want to do, exploring that a little bit more, but then also exploring internships and all of that. And I'm sure they would say the sooner you start taking advantage of all of that and talking with them, the better off you'll be. So I know they would encourage that. I'm seeing, is each student assigned a counselor to help make course selection, or some questions around, will we connect with folks? I think I answered this a little bit, but just to be clear, so like I said, every college does things a little bit differently. The College of Business has academic advisors based on the letter of the alphabet your last name falls into, and so they will be reaching out. College of Engineering has, they use their centralized office, and they have a first-year advisor who will be reaching out. College of Arts and Science also, they have centralized advising, they have a first-year mentor. So there are lots of different folks that are there to answer questions, and we will give you the contact information, both in that welcome kit, in the student portal. It's also on our website now. If you're like, I really want to know now, you could reach out to them now. We are about to go into course registration for our current students. So now you might not get the quickest answer. So waiting until May might be helpful. You might get a quicker response that way, because registration for you all does not happen until mid-July. So you've got time. But yes, if you feel like you have questions and you're not, you can't get them answered, or no one's reached out to you yet, you will have the contact information if you want to do the initial reach out, and I'm sure they'll be super impressed by that. Will my parents have access to the portal at night? Fantastic question. No. So the portal is yours. That is your, and I'm sure the few parents that are on the call right now might be a little frustrated with me, but we truly believe that this is a student experience, and we talk about this in family orientation. So we have tons of resources for families. We have tons of information on our website that is all public, but the specific portal itself requires your user ID and password, and we do say this is your experience, this is your college experience, this is you becoming potentially more independent. Maybe you're already super independent, but this is your experience, and we want you to take control of that, and it is your responsibility to do what you need to do to be successful. And your parents may, and supporters and family members may be a part of that, and you can open up that to them. We will give them, parents and families, tons of information during family orientation. We typically will mail out a postcard that invites folks to that and directs them to our website with all of our resources. We have a family field guide, which is super helpful, and will give them tons of information about the resources and support that we have in place for students on campus, and then how they also might be a part of that. And there is a parent portal. They won't get access to that until much later. So that happens, don't quote me, but I believe it's early October. And that's through, not through our office, but through Registration Academic Services, I believe. Could be wrong on that, but is it through them or is it through the bursar? Now I'm messing that up. But anyways, there will be a parent portal and you will give them access to things. So as a student, you have the right to give them access to mid-semester grades. You have access to give them, or you are able to give them access to finances if you want their help in paying for college, and you're able to do that and your parents are able to do that. So you are able to give them some of that access, but they are not able to just have that. And some of that has to do with law. So if you've not heard of FERPA, that's something to look into. So we cannot give access to grades and your academic progress. And that is not something we are able to share. You are an adult and you have the ability to share that or not. And so we have to be very careful with what we share in regards to that. So they will not have access to the portal, but they do have access to all of the information. And we are looking at our whatever email you gave us in your admissions application for parent and family. I do think we'll send out an email mid-May with the welcome kit so that they can see that as well, because I think that's important. And we'll direct them to our website with tons of information, but they won't see the portal. And it's important that you fill out, that you complete the items on the checklist and that you are doing that, because this is your experience, and you might need to know some of those things later. And so that it's really important that you take responsibility for that. I'm seeing a bunch of questions. Okay, and I see we're nearing 4 o'clock. I can stay on for a little while longer and keep trying to nail some of this or answer some of these questions. So I hear first year meal plans. So that is also in the welcome kit. There are a few different options for first year students. Some of them are, 19 meals a week where you're eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Others are a little bit more flexible, where you've got a certain number of swipes for the semester. And you do have some time, I think it's about 10 days in the semester to be able to change that. So if you're eating and you're realizing that that's not working for you, there are Gold Plus dollars, there are dining dollars. So Gold Plus can be used for things like at the bookstore or laundry, and can also be used in the dining halls. Dining dollars are specific to places like the a la carte eateries on campus. So there's lots of specifics on that. I could bet you that every student will tell you something different as far as the best plan, because I'm sure that is the next question, or maybe further down on my list. It honestly depends on your preferences. It might depend on your schedule too. If you're not a person that likes to get up early and you don't have an early morning class, then you're probably not going to get to breakfast every day. And so that 19 meal a week plan might not be the best plan for you. And so some of that might be very specific to your situation. And so that's something to take a look at. But we have a nice little chart in the welcome kit that lays out your options and what that option includes as far as dining dollars go. There is, okay, lots of random questions. So can athletes participate in Camp Hawk? Yes, as long as they don't have any sport commitments for that weekend. So that might depend on the specific sport. I would imagine for a fall sport, that might be challenging because you may have some, if not a game, then probably practice. But if you're out of season, absolutely. And we've had athletes in the past participate. There is a question specifically about Lucy, so folks might not know what that is. That's the Summer Scholars Institute. That will be happening during that prelusion timeframe, so moving in a few days before orientation starts. And that program is by invite only, so you may have already received, if you're asking about it, you may have already received communication about that but that is information that we receive from Student Access and Success, and I believe there's information in your portal about that as well. Lehigh After Dark, that's a great question. So we offer lots of late night programming to get out, make friends. Typically there's free food, lots of cool activities. I don't know if I can name the coolest ones because there's so many great ones. I know during orientation they do a big movie night on the lawn with tons of activities, and it's usually based on a theme. So with Aladdin, I know they had like henna tattoos and some other cool stuff going on. Lots of inflatables. There's been like indoor skating rinks and roller skating. There's been paint nights. There's trivia night every Thursday, which is a lot of fun. There's Wingo, which is bingo and wings. That's a common one that happens often. They'll keep the gym open late night. So tons of options, and they program, I think I can safely say, pretty much every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday evening. So there's always something to do on the weekends. There's a question about international students having separate orientation. That is true. Great question. And international students and scholars will be in touch about that, and it's also included in the welcome kit. So that also, the move-in day is Sunday, August 16th. And international students would be going through international student orientation that's specific to the needs for international students, and getting folks familiarized with the resources that will be helpful to them for those first few days. And then Thursday, the international students join in and are a part of new student orientation. So everyone participates in new student orientation on Thursday. Do you have to stay on campus over the weekends, or are we able to venture out? Great question. You are absolutely able to venture out wherever you like. I highly encourage you to explore Bethlehem and the Lehigh Valley. It's amazing. There's so much to do here. Hopefully you do it with some friends from campus. I think a great way to make friends is to explore the area and learn the place that you're living in, if you're not from this area. So certainly you're not required to stay on campus. That being said, there's tons of stuff to do on campus. And I think, one question that folks ask is, sometimes they're maybe feeling a little homesick or a little lonely, and so they go home on the weekends. And by all means, folks can do that, and that is certainly what folks need sometimes. And I encourage folks to really try hard to stick around and make friends, because that's usually the time when you're able to do that, when you're not in class. And so sometimes going home often might exacerbate the problem if you are having trouble making some connections. But yes, there's lots of places to explore. We are also, about an hour and 15 minutes from Philly, maybe an hour and a half from New York City. So there are buses that run if you are looking for a more urban environment and looking for that different kind of environment for a day or two or three. So that certainly is possible. We offer buses to the mall over the weekend, so that is a potential, in the movie theater. So there's also transportation. Also, any Lehigh student with their ID card can use our public transportation system called Lanta for free. So that is also an option to get around the area. Can freshmen have cars on campus? No, unfortunately not. So that first-year students are not able to have a car on campus. Let's see. Looking, I think I've covered these questions. How do academic accommodations work? Great question. There will be a link on the Lehigh Student Portal to the form for disability support services. And so the sooner you get in that information, the better. If you have some need, an accommodation that you need academically, that maybe you've gotten in high school or you haven't, but now you have a need, they will walk you through that process. You'll have to submit some paperwork, and once they verify that, they will work with you on a plan to make sure that you, whatever accommodations you need are met. And again, the sooner you fill that out, the better. So that will be available in that summer checklist on May 14th. And so over the summer, it will be important for you to check that out. Looking, let's see. How do older students usually help new students acclimate the first year? That is a great question. I think, and from what I hear from the students, is that they're incredibly helpful and very friendly. I know just from working with our orientation leaders and our CAMPA counselors, we have a staff of 100 and they are amazing. That's all they want to do is help first year students feel comfortable on campus, answer their questions. They care so much. They don't get paid. They do this out of the love of their heart and wanting to serve folks and wanting to make Lehigh the best place it can be. And that's making people feel welcome too and a part of the community. So I see that every day. We do, oh goodness, we do so much training with them. They have a 9-week training in the spring. They have a weekend retreat. They come back early in the fall and they do more training. And again, we don't pay them. They just do that because they want to help. So I think that's my best example of folks really care. And so just reaching out and asking a question, I think you're going to get a good response from the upper class students. Allergy-friendly dining halls. Yes, we have a campus dietitian too, Carrie Gerencher. She's amazing. So if you have specific dietary needs, she's a great person to chat with or meet with, so that you can figure out a plan of, and she can walk you through exactly where that is. But yes, in the big all-you-can-eat places, there are allergen-friendly stations. They have a lot of options there. Salad bar in both of those as well, a pretty extensive salad bar. Which I know can cover a lot, but that's something we try and teach folks during orientation too, is when you go to the allergy specific station, you need to get a new plate, you need to, so yes, that is a part of the dining hall experience. And the campus dietitian would be super helpful in learning a little bit more about that, and your orientation leader can probably assist you as well. So there's some questions about scholarships. I'm going to direct you towards financial aid. So even if you were not given a financial aid package, they are going to be the best place to ask about scholarships. There are outside scholarships available, and I know that they have some information and resources in regards to that. So that would be the best place to start. Let's see. There's some questions about I-20s. So yes, international students and scholars will be in touch with that information. They typically send that information out in May, I believe, but Office of International Students and Scholars will be the best place. And like I said, they will be offering a webinar. I'm not sure exactly when, but that will happen soon. Can first-year students be tour guides? I believe so. Tour guides are run through the admissions office. So they're a great place to start and to ask them. I'm not sure if that application process happens in the fall or the spring, to be honest. So I will direct you towards them, but I believe so. What if my roommate ends up in Greek life? That's great. You might have some new friends to make because they may be making some different and new friends in Greek life. And so, I think that is really wonderful. I will say second semester does look a little bit different. So when someone joins Greek life, it has to be in second semester. We do not do, we have what's called deferred recruitment. So you can't join in your first semester. You have to have at least 12 Lehigh credits, so not transfer credits, 12 Lehigh credits and a 2.500 GPA in that first semester. So we want to make sure you're going to be successful at Lehigh first. And then you could join in your second semester, and it definitely is a time commitment, and there are requirements, and it varies based on the organization that you join. So certainly those folks might be a little bit busier that semester, and you might not see them as often as you did before. But sometimes there's a myth out there of like Greek students can't be friends with non-Greek students and vice versa, and that is just not true at all. And I hear that echoed from our upper class students, that they have friends from back when they were first years, and some folks went Greek and some folks didn't. And so while yes, that spring semester can be a little bit more hectic because there are new member requirements as they start to learn the people in the organization and start figuring those pieces out. There are some new member requirements and trainings that they go through. So that first semester can be a little bit busier, but they're still going to be your roommate and you're still going to see them, and hopefully still able to hang out with them and maybe make some new friends. Do you stay with the same roommate for the first 2 years? No, you will have an opportunity, you can, but you will have an opportunity in the spring semester to submit your preferences and pick roommates. And so the same process, kind of a similar process. There's a lottery system in the second semester, so that can all change in second semester. Do Greek life students live in separate housing? So not in their first year. In the second year, sophomores are required to live in Greek housing if that organization has housing on campus. So not every organization has a house or part of a residence hall dedicated to them. So if they do, they would typically be required to live in that housing in their sophomore year. Okay, I think I answered most of these questions. I'm scrolling to see if there's anything big that I missed. If there were some super specific ones, hopefully I told you where to go. And if not, I will read through these more carefully and we'll be sure to post links or answers to some of these more specific questions so that I can get you those answers. And like I said, our contact information is on the screen. So don't hesitate to call or email us and we will be sure to answer any questions you have. Sometimes Erin, our office coordinator who I mentioned, has answers a lot quicker than I do because she's answering them so frequently. So she may know it even quicker than I do. So I do see one question about summarizing the next steps. So I will just say that I'll kind of conclude with that because I think that's a really great question. Yeah, next steps. So some of you have committed to Lehigh. Awesome. We're excited to have you. If you haven't, I wish you the best of luck in your decision. I hope you choose Lehigh, but I understand that you have some difficult decisions to make. And so we will send out information in early May that will give you a lot of guidance. That welcome kit that I mentioned, you will get via email. It will be on our website, on our social media. I will post it in the parent and family Facebook page for those families that are out there. So that will help kind of walk you along in that summer checklist, checking the portal on May 14th, or if you're not available May 14th, then May 15th, checking the portal and checking out all the information in there and walking through the checklist. Don't overwhelm yourself with it, but like I said, go through May, start taking a look at some of those links. Some of them are super easy. They just lead you to things like, if you want to sign up for Prelusion, great, go ahead and do that. But just kind of taking it day by day and looking at that checklist, that should help guide you. We will send out emails we don't want to overwhelm you, but every 2 or 3 weeks, we will send out an email with a few reminders, just to stay in communication and to remind you that we're here and to give you like a few quick snippets. So hopefully that will be helpful to you, because I know it can be a little overwhelming and you're probably wrapping up school if I imagine many of you are doing remote learning as well. So I'm sure there's a lot on your minds right now. And so we will make it as simple as possible. That portal will be a great place to go, checking your email, and that welcome kit will be super helpful. So those are the 3 things I would guide you towards. And those early May for the welcome kit, May 14th for the portal. Okay. Scrolling down to make sure. Okay, I hope that this was helpful for folks. I'm sorry if I didn't get to your specific question. I tried to get most of them, but I really appreciate you all being here. I hope that everyone is safe and healthy and taking care of themselves and their loved ones. I know this is a really challenging time, and I just really appreciate you all being here. And don't hesitate, again, to reach out to our office or myself directly if you need anything. You can find my contact information on our website as well. All right, so everyone take care and thank you so much. And hopefully I will see you soon.